Hello everybody. This is a very random video that I wasn't even planning on recording, but since I wasn't very lucky during my vacation, so now I have a little bit of spare time due to the fact that I cannot walk properly. So I decided that why not use it and take advantage of this time and record something useful, possibly. This is not a webinar just because I guess this is not such a big issue. Well, it is to me, since I'm recording a video about this, but it's just something that it's not very useful, I guess. It's not something that I would like to share publicly as a tip or as some sort of advice, but it's more about me talking about something that I really want to share with you and just expressing my opinion. That is why I decided to just record a video, and also because some of you have asked me to post more videos, so that is why I thought to myself, why not try and see if it's actually something that you want to see me doing more, or maybe it's just like a one-time thing. So the topic of today's video is correcting the mistakes of other people, and well, especially strangers, I would say, or like people that you're not too close to, let's say. I have jotted down 5 points that I wanted to talk about, so these are basically the only things that we will cover today. So I have had this thing on my mind for quite some time because I have come across people correcting me all the time. I have come across people correcting other people, you know, like my friends or my colleagues or just even strangers. And every single time I don't feel like this is something that I want to support because it's just like, to me, there is absolutely no point in doing that. And I will explain myself why. Maybe you will not agree with me, and by all means, go ahead and share with me if you have a different point of view. Maybe you can convince me otherwise, but for now, I'll just tell you what I think about this. So, and to be honest, it doesn't even have to do with English, because I have seen people correcting their so-called friends, yeah, let's say, or like followers in Russian as well, or any other language. It doesn't even matter. So it's not precisely about English today. It's more like overall, I don't know, overview of every single language and the way this mistake correction has to work, to my mind. So the first thing I would say, please never correct the mistakes that were made by strangers. I understand that if it's a very close friend to you, if it's somebody that you have a bond with, and you know this person, like you know their personality, you know that they will not react in any weird way to this, and it's not gonna be like a blow to their self-esteem. Sure, go ahead and do that if you believe that this is necessary. Sometimes I do correct the mistakes of my friends, but what I really encourage you to do is only do it not in public. So send them a private message, because the only reason I suppose you would do that, right, with your friends is because maybe you don't want, either you don't want them to be embarrassed, yeah, by publicly posting something that contains mistakes, or let's say maybe because you actually want to improve their English or Russian, or like you just want to help them out so that they know this. So in this case, I would say just do it only in a private message. Never do it publicly, because there's absolutely no point, and it's just so condescending, to be honest. Yeah, so, but if you do that with strangers, this is such a low blow, because you never know how this person will react to this. You don't know what their self-esteem is, or where it is, you know, if it's high or low, and you don't know if it's actually going to hurt them, if it's going to affect their confidence. Maybe, who knows, you don't know any like background story to their English. Well, right now I'm going to talk about English, obviously, because since this is like the main topic of my community. So you don't really know if this person maybe has always been struggling with expressing themselves because they're so afraid of making mistakes, and now they're trying their best to kind of, you know, put it out there and try to gain this confidence, and just by one single comment you can just slaughter every single like attempt that they were trying. You know, you can just steal away all the opportunity, not opportunity, but like you can damage their self-esteem just by one comment, because you don't know how sensitive this person is, you don't know how vulnerable they are, you don't know how they will perceive this message of yours. So please never do this. Really, this is just absolutely unnecessary. The second point that I wanted to talk about is, before, like, well, if you do feel like this is necessary, yeah, and you're gonna do it privately and to a person that you actually know, please always make sure that this is actually a mistake. Double check it or triple check it. Use dictionaries or whatever. Because I was myself, and well, actually, I have been, because it still continues happening. It continues happening all the time. So I've been corrected so many times by people who just only know the British English, or like the British spelling, let's say, for instance. So there are so many words and there are so many differences between these different accents and these different ways of speaking. So let's say the spelling of words with O-U-R, yes, in American it would be O-R, or the word that has been bothering so many people for some reason, like practice. Yeah, so in British and in English it's a different word. I mean, it's the same word in terms of meaning, but the spelling is different, right? So in one variant it's practice with C at the end and practice with S at the end as a verb, and in another one it's the same. It doesn't have to change. So just like, if you actually see this as a mistake, well, before letting somebody else know, please just go ahead and double check it with every single dictionary, double check it with youglish.com or any other source that you know. And only then, if you absolutely make sure that this is a mistake, then do it, because otherwise it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of their time, and it's absolutely unnecessary. The third thing is, making mistakes. I believe this is actually, it has to do with teaching, precisely because I believe that this is the attitude that has been, I don't know, embedded in us as Russians, I guess. I'm not sure about other countries, but just like embedded in us due to maybe our system of education. I don't know, since the very childhood, we've been taught to kind of avoid the mistakes and be perfectly accurate, which is I guess it's not a bad thing. I'm not encouraging you here to be illiterate or to not care at all about the way you speak and the amount of mistakes that you make. But the thing that I'm saying is that when you're learning a language, mistakes should be there. They should be encouraged, because look at so many speakers, actually not even, I cannot even call them speakers, like learners of English language, or the English language in Russia, right? There are so many of those who actually know a lot of stuff, but they cannot speak because they're terrified of making mistakes, because of the lack of confidence. And most obviously, it doesn't always, like, you cannot always blame the teacher for it. Yeah, sometimes it's just this person is really self-insecure, but really a lot of times it is the problem of a teacher, because, sorry, I'm gonna have to drink some water. Um, yeah, because the teachers do not encourage people to make mistakes. They, rather than actually making this atmosphere, in the classroom very relaxed and chilled and very comfortable, they actually make students fully aware of the fact that they continuously make mistakes, which doesn't help to improve their fluency, which doesn't help with their confidence. So I believe that English teachers really have to change this attitude and have to keep encouraging making mistakes, and keep reminding the students that it's totally okay to make mistakes. Otherwise, you will never learn anything, and it's not such a big deal unless it's actually like it interrupts the not interrupts, but like it makes the communication impossible. Yeah, so there are definitely some mistakes, and usually they are connected to pronunciation. Yeah, that will kind of steal away from the communication, and people can be misunderstood, or just your message will not be like got across. So that is an important thing. Obviously, this has to be corrected. But if it's something minor, something that doesn't really influence the way they communicate and the way they will be perceived, So whatever, like, don't do this. Like, don't make such a big deal out of it, because otherwise your students will not feel this confidence, will not feel comfortable around English, because they will always be intimidated by the fact that not only will they make mistakes, but also they will be corrected, meaning they will be reminded of the imperfections, of their like ability, or of their language speaking skills. And so I would say, unless you're actually asked, unless, there are students that are maybe like they want to focus on accuracy, so they really want to improve whatever grammar mistakes or vocabulary or pronunciation. So unless you're actually asked because the student is confident enough and they actually want you to correct them, yeah, then don't do that all the time. I'm not saying that you should forget about correcting the mistakes, but I'm just saying that you should be like, there has to be a limit, and it has to be done after they have finished speaking, for instance, and it has to be done in a very gentle way, just kind of reminding them, or sometimes you can even do it sort of kind of like automatically, but for example by repeating the sentence correctly, so it doesn't have to be like pinpointed in their speech, so that they feel like, oh, I'm such a failure because I've made so many mistakes. So yeah, that's another thing. And the other thing that I really wanted to say is, I believe that our generation is kind of, it's concentrated too much on making mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes, and it doesn't even have to do with the language that you're studying or you're learning, right? Because I make mistakes in Russian all the time. And yeah, I'm not very proud of that, I guess, because it's my native language, but it's totally okay, because it's human nature. Like, it's impossible to know every single thing. And again, I'm not encouraging you to forget about literacy and yeah, like, do not care at all about the way you speak. But I'm just saying that it's absolutely normal to make mistakes. I have seen native speakers make mistakes so many times. Like, I have a friend from America, for instance, who just cannot, even though I helped him because he asked me. So I continuously explained how to do it, but he still makes mistakes with the third conditional. So he would most likely say something like, if you would have done, then you would have done. So he would use would with if, which is a mistake. But it doesn't really matter, because he manages to get across whatever he wants to get across. So this is the main purpose of communication, right? So he's a native speaker, and he doesn't feel self-insecure about this. He doesn't really care, because he feels comfortable with it, and because, yeah, the main purpose, the main aim of communication is achieved, and that's it. I know British people, I have British friends who also make mistakes in spelling or in pronunciation sometimes, even. Like, some of my friends actually asked me to pronounce several words, like, for example, differentiate, for instance. They didn't know how to pronounce it properly. Or like, my Australian friends always make mistakes with your and you are, like, without the apostrophe. So even though, yes, I guess you should correct that, but I'm just saying that it's totally normal, and the same is as with any other language. So and native speakers don't even care about you making mistakes, as long, again, as it's like actually understandable, yeah, what you mean. So to be honest, sometimes I feel like when I talk to native speakers, I notice I notice my mistakes much more often, maybe, or I pay more, like, closer attention to them than they do, because they don't really, like, sorry for, like, pardon my French, but they don't give a damn about it, as long as it's understandable, as long as it's like the communication is not disrupted by your mistakes. So they don't make such a big deal out of it as we do usually. So it's totally normal. Again, mistakes are just natural, and this is just one of the ways how to, well, actually, this is the main way how to learn a language, or any other thing. Actually, you cannot learn anything without making mistakes. And the last thing that I wanted to say is this is actually something that doesn't have to do with teaching or English or anything else. It just has to do with your personalities. And I used to be like that before, but now I have changed, and I would really want to encourage you to be humble, because I believe that when people do this, when they correct the mistakes of other people, especially strangers, especially publicly, it's just, and usually the way they do it, it's not like you do it for the benefit of somebody, but it's actually for either I don't know, showing off or something, or showing other people that they think that they are superior to whoever they're writing to, or maybe you have some problems with your self-esteem and you're trying to raise it somehow, but at the expense of other people. So it's really not nice. So I would really want everybody to be humble, and if you do see mistakes in any other in any other message or post by any other person, please just turn a blind eye on it and forget about it. Just let it, like, skip it. It's just such a minor thing, and it doesn't have to be corrected all the time. So please be humble. Please be considerate of other people's feelings, and thoughtful, and yeah, just be nice people, please. And I would just say that from now on, if I see any corrections in my community, I will be very, I don't know, rigid about this. I will either send this video that I'm posting right now. I will send a video as a response to this person, or sometimes, like, if people really overstep in like, this is not the first time that they've done this, I will just block these people from my community, because I just want it to be like a nice, friendly environment, where people are not afraid of making mistakes, where people feel like this is actually the place where I can relax and just practice speaking English, and expressing my opinion, and talk to the colleagues, to like-minded people, without being afraid that I make so many mistakes. So this is my message to you. I really hope that you can support me. I really hope that I don't know, somehow maybe I managed to get across whatever has been on my mind for quite some time. And if you don't agree with me, if you believe that the mistakes have to be corrected all the time, and this is only for the benefit of other people, then please let me know. Maybe we can have a conversation, some sort of discussion on this point. But yeah, I still hope that you will understand me, and yeah, support me, I guess. So, and also let me know if these kind of videos are actually interesting for you, or you would rather prefer just regular webinars, once in a while, me communicating with other people, and with other people, with you guys, and answering your questions, and making it a little bit more useful, or if the videos like this are actually something that you would like to see more often. Okay, so I'm done in 18 minutes, and yeah, I'll see you next week probably, or the week after that, because I'm planning to do one more webinar. Bye bye!